Hey Shaq, how you doing? I got your list of questions, and I'm in the library, so I'll go ahead on and knock this out. Okay. First question is a brief intro to who you are and what you do. Hi, my name is Yolanda A. Barnes, what everybody calls me, Yogi with 2 eyes, and I say that I am Yogi because my mother gave me that nickname. There was never a name that I liked as I got to be a teenager, but I tried to get rid of it. I prefer Yo-Yo, but everywhere I went, Yogi just kind of stuck. So I learned to again embrace it. So it's Yogi with 2 eyes, turning ink into inspiration, ignorance into intelligence. What do? I do a little bit of everything. I am a author, spoken word artist, poet, photographer, graphic designer, visual merchandiser, sales rep, life coach, counselor. You name it, I do it. Okay. When did I first fall in love with poetry and spoken word? I first started off writing at 13, and I was writing raps. It was not poetry, strictly it was not poetry. It was raps. I mean, I was and writing raps, and I had a whole notebook of raps like this. And one day I was writing, and it didn't feel like a rap. It felt like something else. It was coming from someplace different, and I said, "Oh no, this is something different. This is not a rap. This is not a rap." And then the next one I wrote, same thing. It didn't feel like a rap. At that point, I had stopped writing raps and had started writing poetry. And I took it to my friend, and I said, "Read these. Tell me what you think." And she used to read my raps. Nah, she was like, "This is poetry. It's not rap. This is poetry, and you should continue to do this. Don't ever stop doing this because this is great." So that's when I felt about 13. Spoken word, getting on stage. I first was on stage doing spoken word at Fayetteville State, and they had a poetry night, and at that point I had been working at the Broncos Voice, which is the newspaper at Fayetteville State, and had several poems published under Yogi, and finally decided to get on stage and do something, and that was great, and I really liked that. I did it one time, and I was like, "Oh, that's different. I like that." But it was a few years after that, I had a breakup, and it had to be 2007, because that's when everything started picking up for me. 2007, the breakup, and I kept hearing about this poetry at Big Shots, which is a spot here, and I just kept hearing it on the radio, and was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go. I'm brokenhearted. I'm single. I ain't got nothing else better to do, so I'm gonna go." And I went, and the first night I met Malachi and I met Fresh, and I sat and didn't do anything. I just sat there. It wasn't anything that I had experienced before. It was a nightclub setting. It was the vibe. It was the people. It was the energy in the room. It was everything, and I was overwhelmed. And Malachi came up to me and said, "So you gonna do something?" And I was like, "Not this time, but the next time I'll do something." And I did. I would go in every week, be there early. I'd sit down and I would write poem after poem after poem, and would literally perform fresh ink every Wednesday. Would perform fresh ink. It was stuff that I had written while I was sitting there waiting on the show to start. Vibing. So that's when I fell in love, and that's when I fell in love with spoken word, because that was weekly, something new, something different, and it was falling in love with people, the different voices, the different things that poetry was bringing out of me, and what I was able to bring out of myself and put on the table willingly, and unwillingly able to put on the table through words that I didn't even realize needed to be said and needed to be heard. I think my favorite piece of work that I have created, I've got 2 signature pieces right now. I had one back in the day. It was called F Fantasy, which was a signature piece, but people got on me about cussing. Some people got on me about cussing now that I'm a mother, and like, you're not supposed to cuss so much. You shouldn't say the F word. So I no longer call that a signature piece, although it is. My 2 pieces that are signature pieces that mean them. I'm not gonna say, well, anyway. My 2 calls to action. The first one is Letter to the Abused, and I perform that everywhere I go. And I know a lot of people are tired of hearing it, but they should be as tired of hearing about domestic violence as they are about hearing my poem. Period. Because it takes a stand against domestic violence. It gives an understanding ear to someone who's been through it. It also opens the way for conversation, and I have found myself many a nights after performing that piece, walking around in a venue and somebody pulling me to the side and saying thank you. And even when they don't say thank you, they look at me cross-eyed and funny. I know what that is, because they might not be able to verbalize it. I've had a lot of people say that to me about my poetry. It's like, I never knew how to say it, but once I read it, or once I heard you say it, it all came together and made sense. Like, that's how you say it. So they may not have been to that point where they could actually verbalize it. So the looks and that works. I understand what that is. Now, the other signature piece, I know the question said a piece of work, favorite piece of work. Now I've got so many. I'll tell you about 3. I'll add a third. Okay, so the other one, the second one is Peanut Butter and Jelly, and it is an erotic poem done with a twist, because it's nothing that you would expect. I don't hit you over the head with the mundane, boring sex poem. It's fun, and I've done a lot of background, and it's more than just, it's peanut butter jelly time. It's actually like tongue-in-cheek, fun, erotic poem that gets a lot of laughs, and I love that piece. And the third one I'm going to sprinkle on in there is my I Pledge Poetry piece, and that piece was years in the making, and it basically gives homage to everyone who's pledged in a fraternity or a sorority, and it basically says, I did too. I did too. I pledged too. I didn't pledge Delta. I didn't pledge AKA. I didn't pledge Zeta. I pledge poetry. And like a lot of my poems, I do the research. So that poem is so much fun because I want you to forget you're at a poetry event. I want you to think you're at a step show. So I stomp and I step and I clap and I and all of that. So it's fun. It's fun. And that poem was years in the making, and I was blessed to have a supportive slam team, Fayetteville Fire 2013, who, when I had the idea, it was not a pause, nothing. It was, let's do this. And we did it. And like years before I just had the idea and this thing rolling in my head, ideas, words, and then I start doing my research, start watching step shows, start finding out how fraternities, sororities work in different terms and this and that. That way I could put this piece together. And when I got it together, boy, that bad boy together. And I still make little revisions here and there so that when I go different places, it fits the places I go. So, yeah, love that piece. So that's those three pieces: Letter to the Abused, Peanut Butter and Jelly, I Pledge Poetry. Hands down. Now, I'm not saying that there's no other ones that I appreciate and love as gems, because I can think of them in the back of my head swirling right now. But for the three that stand out, those three do. And they show diversity in me, in my writing. It shows highs and lows in emotion. And it also, I mean, if I were to do those three poems at any set, I'd have a happy audience. And that to me means a lot. So I'm gonna go to the next question now. What am I working on at the moment? I am currently, you ready for this? In the studio working on my next poetry CD, which is gonna be called, unless it changes now, I'll let you know if it changes. But right now, I am pretty much set on bangers. Cause talking to LJ, he was kind of, I was like playing him some of the snippets, and I was telling him I wasn't sure, like really which other ones I wanted to put on my CD, and I was saying, you know, all like those poems. I was saying Peanut Butter and Jelly. I was saying, you know, Letter to the Abused has already been recorded. So Cartier Jesus from Real Life Music did that one, and that's already done. So I mean, I can't really record that. Don't want to re-record anything like that. I just want to fresh. And so he was like, well, you can't put all your bangers on one CD. And why not? So he kind of gave me the idea by saying you couldn't, so I think I will. And so it'll be the ones that I hear people saying they like the most, the ones that I get requests for, which I don't really get a lot of requests because people just know I'm gonna give them what they need, and you know. So that's gonna be. I've got some interesting art. That's why I'm here at the library today. I'm working on that. I'm working on my next book and working on starting my own little mini publishing company. And you know, I recently graduated from Fayetteville State. Bronco Pride. That's where I'm at today, in the library. And you know, I feel different. I feel like ain't no regular job gonna do, you know? Like, I'm different. I'm really different. And although I have a daughter and I have things that I have to do, I gotta make sure she eats first and foremost. I ain't gotta eat. I have a Mountain Dew and I'll be alright. She gotta eat, cause she gotta grow. I do like to eat too. Anyway, but ain't no regular job gonna do. So I'm not saying I want to make poetry full time, cause that ain't got no benefits. But you kind of get what I'm saying. You know, I want to do it. I want to jump in both feet, do some things. I got notebooks of ideas and stuff that I want to make happen. Hell, if I don't make it happen, I want to help somebody else make it happen. And that's just what this is. It's not about hogging something or an ego. If I see you doing something, I'm going to help you get to the next. Let's help each other. That wasn't the question. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. Helping to teach people to do better. I want to work more with the teens. I want to do an event called Butterfly Boot Camp, and that is going to be huge when I finally get all the details done. I've already started on working on that project, Shades of Shame, which is to help against the fight of domestic violence. We will come together with poetry that will encompass all sides of the topic, and really work on that. And lastly, just designing a little more. I'm kind of pulling back from the photography a little bit. I really want to give my artistry a chance as far as the art, the writing is concerned. I really want to do that. So I haven't totally put the camera down. I still pick it up from time to time. I just know that right now my heart is got some stories to tell that actual words need to paint the pictures and not just actual images. What are your future goals? And both work-wise and I think that's life. Goals. Make sure Shayla eats. To make sure that I help somebody every day. Just, it doesn't even matter who. I want to help someone every day. If I do it once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, as long as I'm helping somebody, that's what I want to do. I want to help. I want to motivate. I want to stand with discernment in people's lives and say, "Oh, you got this. You don't have to worry. You got this." You know. I would love to have a publishing company. Would love to publish authors. I meet them every day, people that write and people that have stories to tell, and want to push them to do, to be, to stand, to do everything that you know is going to open doors for them. You know, and so yeah, and I want to watch my daughter grow up and make sure she's happy and healthy and beautiful, and understand that she is enough, and she is an artist. And my future goal is to make sure that the artist in my daughter is cultivated in a way that I quite was not. That she realizes that is a career path, that there is a space out there for you because God allotted for that. And yeah, that I'm simple. I could say I want a mansion and a car, this, that, I don't. I'm good. I'm real simple. I'm real easygoing. I know that those things will come in accordance to the work done. So I let God be God, and He got the wheel for the who did all for the $1 million car with the driver. So I have my dreams, but I know He'll make it happen. What am I doing when I'm not creating? I'm probably playing pool if I can get a babysitter. Like, a lot of things depend on the babysitter. Like, I'll be at the house watching Disney. Not Disney necessarily. I find like off-brand videos. I don't want her to be like a name brand chick. So I find these off-brand things. So we watch movies at the house. Me and my daughter cook. She's 3, and we cook chicken nuggets from scratch. We do brownies. We eat brownies and ice cream. I like to eat shrimp linguine, Thai food. We make it at the house. I can tell you more what I don't do. I don't do movies like that. I can't tell you, well, I could tell you the last movies I watched. Because I went to the Red Box. I wanted a release from the children's movies I had been watching, so the only way to do that is to cachet that was an adult movie, or 2 or 3, because it was 50% off. It was 50 cents off the last video for 3. Really shouldn't have done that because budget would be anyway. We go to the library like I am right now. I watch documentaries. Anything that's going to help me be better, be able to better tell a story, to look at somebody else's story, to see somebody else's truth. That way things can bubble up and fester until I can write them down. So yeah. What would people be surprised to learn about you? Oh, I think people would be surprised to know that hell, they'd probably be surprised to know a lot. Like, for some reason, the fact that I've never had a drink, I have never taken drugs. I didn't have Shayla till 3 years ago, and I'm 38 now. And she's my only kid. I think that they'd be surprised to know those things, but those things are basic. Like if you think about like something that's really big, I think they'd be surprised to know I'll be up at 3 in the morning writing. I ain't the best housekeeper. This is a lived-in house, and some people will take that to the extreme. That I have painted several places in my house chalkboard, so that not only I can teach my daughter how to write on the wall, chalkboard wall, but that when I have ideas, I can write them down on the chalkboard wall as well. In my house, I have an office that has some very unique ideas as far as design is concerned. A huge light up board, that's lit from the back. Not that I just wanted to share that. I don't think they'd be surprised to know that. I'm just saying. Anywho, let me stop wasting your time. Where do I sell my work? Well, right now, okay, here's the deal. Out of the trunk of my car, have books, you can get my books on lulu.com/YGAB. You can also find me at my own website, which is Yogi with 2 I's, and that's not the full width, it's just W, 2 I's. But I will type all that stuff out for you so we have the actual website to it. And my website is still ever evolving, and with the new CD coming out and the new book coming out, so it's going to forever be evolving. But I do keep some video links and some things there that people can check out. You can find me on Reverb Nation and soon to be on CD Baby. What I want to do is maximize all avenues to be able to make this money. Gotta eat. And I think that's going to be the best way for me right now. And I'm always looking for other avenues in which to sell my work, but right now the book is at lulu.com, and my music is nowhere for sale right now. None of my music until this next CD comes out, and then I will filter music out to sell at CD Baby. Probably my first and second CD, because I really didn't push the first CD as I should have. Don't get me wrong, it's sold, just didn't really get it out into the masses. So it's cool. We're gonna get it. Sometimes the second time around is better. Third time is a charm. So we're working on that. I do have I have my website. I do have a Twitter. I have Facebook. I have LinkedIn. I have a Gmail account. I have a Hotmail account. And I will send you the list of all of those, because I don't know them off top. Don't get me lying. What else should we know about you and your work? I'm just different. I'm me. And I listen for different things. I look at different things. I make correlations to different things. I try to tap into emotions. I really don't try to be funny. It just comes out. I think some of my best work is done when I'm not stressed. I can write a whole piece. I can sit down and write a whole piece in minutes and not go back and have to really edit anything, and it be ready to go. I had one track. I had one poem that I wrote in one day and recorded it that same day because I just knew it was ready. And if you listen back to I Ain't Gotta F You to Know, that was written the same day that it was recorded, and it was recorded, and it was good to go. I was done. Everything was done, polished, and finished. And I've been lucky so far this year to I took a acting class and worked on that. Maybe that'd be something people would be surprised to know. I took an acting class to not only enhance I took an acting / for media class. That's what the class was. And it was to enhance my presence on stage. It was enhance what I bring to the table. And that class taught me a lot about how to bring it just to the table, like to have people crying. I've had people crying. I have also joined Toastmasters, which is global, and Toastmasters has improved my speaking on ways and levels that I have not even really tapped into yet. There's things I haven't even tapped into yet. The beautiful thing about what I am doing is the more I think about where I want to go, the more I see that being in the public eye is not going to be an option. It's going to be demanded. So where I might have tried to hide in the background for a while, that's over. I have begun to sing. My singing voice has become so powerful. And I used to not sing at all. Remember, I was a rapper. So my singing voice has developed. I remember singing Mary J. Blige, like maybe I was 13 or 14, maybe 15, and I was singing, and I was singing something, Mary J. Blige, I don't remember what it was, and somebody heard me, and was like, and it was that, are you singing? And I was like, yeah. And they didn't say you couldn't sing, shut up, don't do it again, keep your day job. They didn't say any of that. It was just a and I took that to mean shut up. Years later, I found out that I should have never been quiet. I should have continued to sing. So I'm continuing to sing. So R&B music is coming out of me, jazzy renditions. I do Strange Fruit as a cover. I do Funny Valentine as a cover. And in the process of writing my own song called Let Me Go. And it reminds me of Amy Winehouse. So I have definitely begun to expand. And that's all I ever wanted. I prayed a long time ago, was to expand my territory. So I started doing little stuff. I have a Blog Talk radio show, and I do workshops with people on the radio show, which is awesome. I don't do it as often as I should, and that's going to change. For right now, I definitely do that. I call into radio shows and spit, listen, learn, and I can tell you that I recently became a member of Team JAG, which is out of Chicago, and that was just from calling in and spitting and saying, you know how many people want to be a part of our group? And I'm going, no. And they're going, we want you in our group. You are in our group right now. And the next thing I know, I've got my picture with Team JAG on it, and it's beautiful. But this isn't the first time that's happened. So poetry is a movement. Poetry is what I live. I breathe. I wouldn't be the same without it, and I've tried. I tried to retire because it was making other people happy that I was not going to shows. I had my daughter. I was strictly a mother, and going to work, going to school. I was so unhappy. I told them I retired from poetry. They were like, yeah! Shut up. I was so unhappy. And then one day I said, even some of my poet friends was like, this is a note from management. She has not quit. Dasan had put that on my page. I was just like, ugh, you don't understand the flack that I get for believing in something that's been in me since I can remember. The fight for my voice, all parts and pieces of it have been early on in my life. Like when I was born, my parents say that my lungs just wouldn't. I think about that. I think about what they told me. And I think about why somebody would want to take my voice away from me. And I know why. I got the voice with the powerful boom enough to start a riot. And it makes sense why we rioted. I know that. The same voice that I can caress you with is the same voice I can cuss you with. And I know that. And I take responsibility for the words that come out of my mouth. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. That's why I don't say a lot. So I don't know where this article is gonna go. Where it may. Please let me know if you need more info though. Please, for real. For real. Follow-up questions, the whole hour, for real. Do I have any tips or inspiring words for others? I sure do. Young artists coming up, please understand, never be afraid to share your story. You are the only person that can tell that story. No one can tell it quite like you. Tell it. There will be people around you that have no idea what you have gone through. Tell them. I also say have 2 notebooks, sometimes 3. One for your thoughts, your pure, unadulterated thoughts. Put it all on the page in the first book. The second book is the book for your stage stuff, the stuff that you are ready to share. Because see, that first book is your purge, your work through, your beginning to heal. This book you don't read in front of everybody. You don't take that book to the shows. You take that book to your body and your soul. You just in that book. That second book is where you go back to the first book and say, okay, that was a great idea. Let me pen something beautiful. Let me work through this pain through a poem. Once you work through the pain in the poem and you say, I am healed, I feel better, I can share this. Once you say you can share something, share it. Because there is somebody out there needing to hear it. They're waiting on you to write it. They need to know that somebody else has gone through and come out of that mess. And only you can say that. Let me also say to you young poets, not everybody is going to listen to you. I have an audience. I have people that will listen to me. Will everyone listen to me? No. There'll be another poet right next to you. Could say almost the exact same things and they hear them. Your message is who you're meant to connect with. Period. Don't force anything. You let it be natural. If they don't hear you, that's fine. It wasn't meant for you to connect with them. I don't know. Write from your heart. Right where you right where you at. And like the song says, there's no such thing as writer's block. Like Neil says, it's called a wamdam-ku. If you get to the point where you can't write, find other style to write in. Find some new way to get your brain working, because that's all your brain is saying. I'm kind of bored with what you're doing right now. Stretch me, shape me, mold me, give me some different perspective to write in and on. That's what that is. No other advice right now for the young poets. Make sure you write your own stuff. Ain't no plagiarisms. Okay? Somebody will hurt you. And will. Oh, I guess I could say this. Don't. Please don't. Please don't come into the poetry game thinking you're gonna get rich. I don't know no rich poet. Yeah, no. Don't get into it trying to be rich. This is not basketball. It's not football. Now, what you can go into it saying is, I want to change lives. Start with your life, and everyone else will follow. And do you admire any artists, photographers, famous photographers? All of them. What? Since this is mainly a poetry article, I look up to Desan Ahanu. I look up and admire Breeze. I like this. My brother LJ, he is an amazing example of what hard work can do. Tasha Jones, Georgia Meade, Red Storm, even he came through with some other stuff, and I was like, word. Eric Moore, Walter Jennings out of Florida, Salam Saeed out of Florida, Paul D. I preference all these. I'm saying all these names. Kimby the Goddess, Moody Black, G. Nasty. Oh, Lady S. Like the poets that are close to me, as well as the poets that are far away from me. Let me go ahead and say some of this stuff right here. I am a Southern Fried Poet to the day I die. You heard me? I went to Southern Fried in Durham and took my mother with me all the days I went, except for the last 2. She went with me, but also LJ went with me. I was the first one in Fayetteville to slam, and I went with just my mom because I wanted my mom to see some other poets. I wanted her to see that this is what she does, this is the effect she has, and this is why it's so important to her. I also went because I wanted to prove something to myself. I never wanted to slam at home. Poetry slam is the competition slam where you're rated by 5 random judges from 1 to 10, with the highest and lowest score dropped, and you get what's in the middle. I never wanted to slam in Fayetteville, never wanted to slam at home. I wanted to be in different areas where people really didn't know who I was, so that I could really test who I am and what I had to bring to the table. I had no idea that going to one Southern Fried was going to change my entire life, and it did in a massive, massive way. because of the way Southern Fried is done, I had paid, I don't know, about $100 and some odd dollars to be a part of the competition. It wasn't about the money, but what I saw was the indie artists didn't get a separate competition from the teams. So that ended up being a little issue for me. So the last 2 days, when LJ kind of caught on to what was going on and how it worked, he was like, we got to start a team. Yeah, we do, because of the way it's set up. Perfect. So we started Fayetteville Fire Slam team, and for the last few years, up until this year, 2014, where we didn't have a team, it changed my life too. I was able to be a coach. I was able to be a co-coach. I was able to really work with some poets and see the different sides of slam and how to cultivate and mold artists. Neither here nor there on some issues, that sometimes come up to question, but I really found out that by doing it with a group, you have to have patience. You have to have so much energy expended into everyone else, and it's not just you, it's you and everyone else, and you gotta make a balance. And sometimes I was good at it, sometimes I wasn't. So slam is definitely something that I like to do. I realize slam is a wonderful marketing tool. I see the business of poetry, and that's another thing. I have the business of poetry page on Facebook, and I talk about a lot of different business strategies, things poets should be looking for, things poets need, as far as information on grants and also contests, along with other things that are business, but is also very pertinent to advancing your poetry career. That page means a lot to me, and I was going to give up on that page, but a good friend, Mr. Ed Mabry, came through one day, and anytime I get low, I look at his statement and says, I don't care what nobody say, this, you don't stop doing what you're doing. This is a great page, it's a great group here on Facebook, and he's been a big supporter of the group for a while now. So it's been, I think, 2 years, 3 years going, and I constantly add videos and tips and tricks and how to best do your CDs, if you want cards to sell your music on, and just, I really give you the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the lefts and rights, and I try to keep it real clean cut to the point. I slam. I did give up poetry, like I said, for a little while there. I had a premature baby, my daughter Shayla. She was 3 months early, so for a while there, I really wasn't focused on any words, any writing. I was in NICU every day, so that's a little interesting part of my life and my story. I am single, ready to mingle. I'm a pretty easy to get along with person. Yeah, I'm creative. I like doing stuff. I like just surprising people sometimes with little gifts here and there. And it's nothing ever expensive, but it just says, I'm thinking about you. the CD, I'll try to get some cuts to you or just link you in them so that you can hear kind of what I got going on right now in the studio. And I think I answered everything. I do have active video. If you want that link, let me know. I did Malin from Steel Magnolias, the funeral scene. It's just and then the pictures that I gave you. I'm waiting on Gemini to answer my questions because I sent her like a list, kind of like what I got here, and I actually made a video going to her, so she's probably answering them now, hopefully. And I've already started her outline for her article, and as soon as I get all her information done, I'll shoot that right to you because I plan on having it done within a couple of hours of her sending it. So really not feel the greatest, but it's been about an hour, and I haven't run my mouth sufficiently. So I'll go ahead and send this on to you. I go over here in the corner and